Hi, I'm Don Fisher with Emergency Response Solutions International. I'm here at the Kansas City Assembly Plant with two Ford workers, UAW Ford workers, Scott Pyle, and this is Pat Hayes. They're both members of the emergency response team, and today we're going to talk about an incident that happened last Saturday where Scott had to use the AED. So tell us about that, Scott. What happened? Where were you? And just tell us the story.
All right. It was 7 o'clock in the morning. I just arrived at work, checked in and signed in our, where we check in the morning. Was headed upstairs to the transit paint area. As I drove into the plant at our Q42 overhead door, headed down the last aisle of transit chassis line to about Nancy 47 and saw a commotion in that area and several people running kind of to that certain area. So I looked over and saw a gentleman laying on the ground, and one of the ladies, Mary Nichols, is one of our supervisors, was responding to this gentleman on the ground. So I pulled the buggy over, stopped, got off. The gentleman was breathing at the time that I arrived there. I checked to see if he had a pulse, and at that time he stopped breathing and he had no pulse. So I told Mary to go ahead and start CPR. She started chest compressions. Located 2 bays away from there is a restroom that has an AED on. Yeah, actually the people in the area said there's an AED at that restroom, so they went and got it while we were standing there, brought it over, turned it on, got the pads out, put it on. In the meantime, I took the gentleman's coveralls and shirt off. Mary was continuing with chest compressions. We did not have a mask with us at that point, so we did not do any breaths, but when I put the AED on, almost immediately it said that a shock was required. So we cleared everyone away, applied the first shock, went and started chest compressions again. The gentleman aspirated, and then the nurse arrived. I went to the other side to do the chest compressions, but at that time the defibrillator had indicated that another shock was needed. The nurse administered the second shock before I began any further chest compressions, and at that point, it was, like I told you earlier, it was almost like the lights came on. And the gentleman opened his eyes, and we'd put O2 on him, so he was receiving oxygen at that point. And he, within probably 30 seconds to a minute, was communicating with us, asked us what happened. He was answering questions about medication that he took. So I mean, he was, you know,
that's amazing.
It was an amazing experience. I would say that everything came together, you know, perfectly for this gentleman. I mean, you know, it was a Saturday, not a normal production day. Some required overtime was in place. The gentleman's son also works here and made a comment to one of our UAW representatives that, you know, if his dad hadn't been at work that day, that the response where they live probably would not have been that.
So when was the last time that you were trained to use that device?
It was probably about 4 weeks ago, actually. We just went through our refresher class. We had our full week refresher, which includes AED and CPR recertification, and then ropes rescue class the following 2 days after that.
Yeah.
So.
How many members do you have on the team, Pat?
We've got approximately 50 members on the team, but we also have 261 electricians, and we train each of our electricians in AED CPR. So we have more than 300 people in the plant trained to perform AED CPR, which is important because we have 7,800 people working here now. It's a big facility. It's Ford's largest facility in North.
Do you have these all over, Pat?
We have them all over the facility.
And how do you know where those are located?
We've got a map that is distributed around the plant that shows people where they are, and when we do training, we urge people to find the one in their area on the map and then go locate it in person when they get back on the job.
This isn't the first time that you guys have had to use an AED here in the plant, is it?
Just a couple of months ago, we also had another one of our workers here who had a sudden cardiac arrest. We did revive him, was transported in the ambulance. Unfortunately, he only lived a couple of days after he was revived.
Wow. Scott, tell me how you feel about being involved with this emergency with such a positive outcome.
Yeah, I mean, as Pat spoke to, it's you know, a very, very sad situation when we have someone who's been a part of our community here for 25 years. And I've known that gentleman when he used to work as an electrician, and then went into supervision. So worked directly with that gentleman. So that was a very sad time for all of us. So to have a positive outcome in this one, you know, really reinforces that, you know, the time that we take and the resources that are spent to train us and prepare us for these situations, you know, you save one life and it's well worth every single bit.